The human mind is not designed to comprehend compound interest. It is engineered to perceive immediate threats, the growl in the dark, the flash of movement, the smell of smoke. It is a survival mechanism honed over millennia. So, when a silent, abstract, and mathematically complex threat enters our lives, we are biologically unequipped to recognize its true danger. We misclassify it. We file it under inconvenience or future problem. We fail to see the predator for what it is until its jaws are firmly locked around our future. Let me tell you about the most expensive number you probably ignore every month. It is not your rent. It is not your car payment. It is the single digit, or perhaps that deceptively low double digit, sitting quietly next to the percentage sign on your credit card statement. That number is not a static figure. It is an active, living force. It is a financial enzyme catalyzing the conversion of your present labor into a bank's future profit. It is buying someone else's freedom, and I can say with certainty, it is stealing yours. I know this because for years, I was a willing participant in my own financial diminishment. I understood debt in the way most people do, as a necessary tool, a bridge across gaps in cash flow. A car loan was for a reliable vehicle. Student loans were an investment. Credit cards were for points, for emergencies, for building a credit history. I was responsible. I made my payments, on time, every month. The shock was not a singular catastrophic event. It was a slow, chilling realization that arrived not with a bang, but with a whisper. It was a Sunday evening, sitting at a desk littered with statements from 3 different cards, a personal loan, and an auto financing booklet. I was performing the monthly ritual of moving money from one account to another, a digital shell game designed to keep the lights on and the warnings at bay. I looked at the minimum payment on my largest card, $120. Then I looked at the statement breakdown. Of that $120, approximately $98 was interest. Only $22 was actually touching the principal amount I had spent. I was paying $100 a month for the privilege of owing the bank money. I was renting my debt. This was not a math problem. This was a revelation of structure. I was not on a journey to becoming debt-free. I was on a treadmill, running at a cost of nearly $100 a month to stay in place. The principal balance was a distant, almost theoretical figure, like a mountain seen through a thick fog. My payments were merely maintaining the fog. This is the core shock, the psychological trap we never discuss. Our system is not merely tolerant of perpetual debtors. In a calculated actuarial sense, it is optimized for them. The goal of the institution is not your solvency. The goal is your reliable, long-term, interest-generating participation. You are not a customer seeking a service. You are a recurring revenue stream. We are taught from a young age to fear the specter of bankruptcy, the single big monster under the bed. Consequently, we miss the 1,000 tiny vampires of compound interest that slip in through the cracks every single day, feeding on our indecision, our fragmentation, and our hope. The real scandal is not being in debt in a complex modern economy. The scandal is staying in debt by a design so elegant and diffuse it feels like personal failure rather than systemic arithmetic. I felt that failure intimately. It manifested as a low-grade, constant anxiety, a background hum in every decision. A dinner out was no longer just a dinner. It was a calculation against a rotating balance. A career opportunity with a lower starting salary was not an adventure. It was an impossibility. My imagination for my own life began to shrink, constrained by the invisible walls of monthly obligations. The future was not a landscape of possibilities, but a spreadsheet to be managed. Then came what I can only describe as the light bulb moment. It was not a discovery of a new product or a secret hack. It was a fundamental shift in perspective. I stumbled upon the concept of debt consolidation, not through an advertisement, but through a frustrated search for a way to simply see my problem clearly. All the advice was about fighting harder on the treadmill, cut expenses, earn more, use the snowball method. All valid tactics, but they accepted the battlefield as given. What if, I thought, I could change the battlefield itself? Debt consolidation, I realized, was not a magic wand or a bank's trick. Stripped of its marketing gloss, it was a simple, strategic weapon, the weapon of refinancing. It was the deliberate, conscious act of replacing high-cost debts with a single, lower-cost liability. It was not about borrowing more. It was about borrowing smarter. It was about restructuring the terms of engagement in my favor. For the first time, I saw a path that was not about running faster on the incline, but about finding the control panel and lowering it. It felt like discovering a secret exit in a room I had been told had only one locked door. But before we walk toward that exit, you must understand the precise mechanics of the lock. You must move from feeling the anxiety of debt to understanding the architecture of your anxiety. To do that, we need to move beyond the simple percentage on your statement and confront the true engine of the trap, the phenomenon of effective interest. This is where the illusion breaks and the real fight begins. Let's give the monster a name. Let's shine a light on its shape. We throw around the term interest rate as if it's a simple linear fee, a toll on the road. You borrow $1,000 at 20%, you pay back $1,200. That is the comforting and utterly fictional narrative. The true cost, the true predatory mechanism, is obscured by two deceptively simple words: effective interest. This is not the stated APR. This is interest's real, lived experience in your financial life. It is interest calculated not just on your original principal, but on the accumulating interest itself. It is, in its purest form, a financial virus. One that uses your own capital to replicate and strengthen itself against you. Think of it this way. You have a credit card with a $10,000 balance and a 24% annual percentage rate. You commit to the minimum payment, which is typically around 2 to 3% of the balance, or let's say $250 this month. Your statement arrives. Of that $250 payment, approximately $200, 80% of it is immediately consumed by the interest charge for that period. Only $50 travels down to scratch the surface of the original $10,000 debt. Next month, interest is calculated on the new, slightly reduced balance of $9,950. But because the principal shrank so minimally, the interest charge is still roughly $199. Your $250 payment again gets devoured. This is the treadmill. You are not climbing down the mountain. You are running in circles at its base, paying a tax for the privilege of looking up at the peak. Over a year, you might pay $3,000, yet see your balance drop by only a few $100s. The effective cost of carrying that debt, the toll it takes on your cash flow and your future, is exponentially higher than the simple APR suggests. This mechanistic reality births a profound psychological weight. The anxiety of debt is not a singular emotion. It is a composite. It is decision fatigue as you mentally juggle 5 different due dates, 5 different minimums, 5 different portals. It is cognitive load, the mental bandwidth consumed by this constant low-grade calculation that is then unavailable for creative thought, for strategic planning for your career, or for simply being present. Every potential purchase, no matter how small, becomes a moral and mathematical dilemma. A $75 dinner is not $75. It is $75 plus the compounded interest it will accrue if it hits a revolving balance, forcing you to perform mental calculus that erodes simple joy. This is where the popular advice, while well-intentioned, often feels like bringing a knife to a gunfight. The debt snowball and debt avalanche methods are commendable behavioral tactics. They provide structure and psychological wins. The snowball method, paying off smallest debts first for momentum, is a powerful motivator. The avalanche method, targeting the highest interest rate, is mathematically optimal. But I must offer a contrarian perspective. These are fundamentally reactive strategies. They accept the terms of your debtors as immutable. They are plans for fighting a multi-front war on your enemy's chosen terrain, dollar by dollar, month by month. They are about endurance. And while endurance is necessary, it is rarely sufficient for a decisive victory. What if you are surrounded? What if the minimum payments on all fronts are consuming your resources so completely that deploying an extra $50 to a snowball feels like a futile gesture? Tactics are not enough. You need a strategic maneuver. You need a way to change the fundamental conditions of the conflict before you can effectively fight it. This is the critical pivot in mindset, from being a foot soldier in the trenches of your own finances to becoming a general who can survey the battlefield and alter its topography. Here is the unsettling truth that much mainstream financial commentary soft pedals. The ultimate goal is not merely to arrive at a balance of zero. Zero is a number, a destination. The true objective is to reclaim the capital and the cognitive confidence that your debt is currently holding hostage. It is about freeing up not just money, but mental real estate. It is about stopping the hemorrhage of your most valuable asset, your future earning potential, into the black hole of compounded interest. The debt is not just a sum you owe, it is a tax on your potential, a governor on your engine. This understanding changes everything. It moves the problem from the realm of pure accounting into the realm of strategy and personal sovereignty. You are not just cleaning up a mess, you are conducting a hostage rescue operation for your own financial agency. So, how does one stage this strategic retreat? It begins with understanding the primary vehicle for it, the debt consolidation loan. This term is shrouded in misconception, often viewed with suspicion as just more debt or a trick for the desperate. But is it a lifeline, or is it merely a longer, more polished set of chains? The answer depends entirely on the strategy behind its use. Let us dissect it without myth or marketing to see the raw mechanics of this potential tool for liberation. Let us reframe the concept entirely. A debt consolidation loan is not more debt. That is a superficial and ultimately paralyzing interpretation. Instead, consider it a hostage negotiation. You are the negotiator. Your scattered high-interest debts, the credit card balances, the store card bills, the payday loan remnants, are the hostages, each held in a separate, chaotic location by different captors, your creditors, demanding exorbitant daily ransoms, interest. Your liquidity, your peace of mind, your financial flexibility are what's being held for ransom. The consolidation loan is not another captor. It is your unified, disciplined, and better armed counterterrorism unit. Its mission is singular: to gather all those disparate hostages in one coordinated operation, eliminate the high-cost captors, and secure them under one set of controlled, more favorable terms. You are swapping a diffuse, chaotic, and expensive siege for a structured, contained, and manageable containment operation. You are trading entropy for order. This maneuver is executed not with hope, but with precision. It is a four-phase operation. Phase 1, the audit, mapping the hostage crisis. This is the most psychologically difficult phase because it requires absolute, unflinching honesty. You must gather every statement, every login, every scrap of paper. You create a ledger, not of what you wish you owed, but of what you actually owe. List each creditor, the total balance, the annual percentage rate, APR, and the minimum payment. Confront the sum total. This number is not a judgment of your character. It is the assessment of the battlefield. This act of aggregation is the first step of strategic reclamation. You are no longer allowing the problem to remain fragmented in the shadows where it holds its power. You are shining a light on the entire board. Phase 2, the qualification, assessing your negotiating power. This is the reality check, governed by the cold calculus of the credit system. Your ability to secure a favorable consolidation loan, a low interest rate, hinges primarily on two factors: your credit score and your debt-to-income, DTI ratio. Your credit score is the market's perception of your risk profile. Your DTI is a simple formula: your total monthly debt payments divided by your gross monthly income. Lenders use these metrics to decide if you are a candidate for rescue or if you are deemed too deep in the crisis. This phase can feel defeating, but it is merely diagnostic. It tells you where you stand now, not where you will finish. If your numbers are suboptimal, it may indicate a necessary period of tactical groundwork. Making aggressive payments on the highest interest debts for a few months to improve your profile before launching the full strategic maneuver. Phase 3, the shopping process, selecting your special forces unit. Not all loans are created equal. You are not begging for a lifeline. You are shopping for a strategic partner. This means looking beyond big banks. Credit unions, because of their member-owned structure, often offer more competitive rates. Reputable online lenders can provide efficiency and clear comparisons. The critical terms to interrogate are not just the interest rate. You must demand clarity on, is the rate fixed or variable? Are there origination fees? And most crucially, are there prepayment penalties? A loan with a prepayment penalty is not a tool for freedom. It is a new cage. You need the absolute right to attack and eliminate this new loan faster than its schedule without financial penalty. Read the agreement not for reassurance, but for hidden mechanisms of control. Phase 4, the execution. The surgical strike. You secure the loan. The funds disperse, often directly to you or to your creditors. This is the moment of maximum discipline. You must, with methodical focus, use every dollar of that loan principal to pay off in full the specific high-interest debts you identified in your audit. This is not new spending money. This is a surgical instrument. Then, you must address the now zeroed-out credit accounts. Conventional wisdom says to close them. I offer a more nuanced directive. Sever their operational capacity, but consider maintaining their existence. This means calling the issuer and requesting the account be closed to new charges, or physically cutting up the card and removing it from digital wallets. However, closing old accounts can negatively impact your credit utilization ratio and average account age, two key scoring factors. The account can exist, dormant and powerless, as a positive artifact in your credit history. The absolute, non-negotiable rule is behavioral. This loan is a surgeon's scalpel, not a bandage. If you use this instrument to clear your debts and then proceed to run up new balances on the old, now cleared credit lines, you have not performed surgery. You have committed financial self-sabotage of the highest order. You will have doubled your burden. The maneuver only works if it is accompanied by a total ceasefire on new revolving debt. This primary maneuver has two specialized variants, each with a specific risk profile. The ninja move, the balance transfer card. This is the tool of choice if you have good credit and a focused, disciplined timeline. You transfer multiple high-interest balances to a single new credit card, offering a 0% or very low introductory APR for a period, typically 12 to 21 months. The potential savings are astronomical as you attack the principal with 100% of your payment. However, the risks are acute. There is usually a transfer fee, 3 to 5%. The standard APR after the promotional period is often catastrophic, and if you fail to eliminate the entire balance within the promotional window, the trap snaps shut with even greater force, as the deferred interest may capitalize. This requires a precise military-grade payment plan. The nuclear option: home equity, HELOC, or home equity loan. Here, you are using the equity in your home, your sanctuary, your most foundational asset, as collateral to secure a lower interest rate to pay off unsecured debt. The stakes are existential. You are transmuting unsecured debt, where failure to pay damages your credit, into secured debt, where failure to pay can cost you your home. The interest might be lower and sometimes tax deductible, but the consequences of deviation are of a different magnitude entirely. This option should only be considered with a written, sworn commitment to behavioral change and an ironclad budget. You are not just managing debt, you are betting your homestead on your future discipline. You have now executed the core maneuver. The scattered, screaming demands have been silenced. A single, predictable payment has taken their place. The battlefield is quiet. But this is the most vulnerable moment, the moment when complacency breeds disaster. Victory is not secured by the loan itself, but by what you build in the space it creates. Now comes the essential, non-negotiable work, fortifying your new position. The consolidation loan has been secured. The high-interest accounts show a balance of 0. A single, automated payment is scheduled. There is a profound and dangerously seductive sense of relief. This is the pivotal psychological juncture. You have achieved a tactical victory, the reorganization of your liabilities. But the strategic war for your financial sovereignty is just entering its most critical phase. Without a conscious and deliberate behavioral lockdown, this new structure is merely a more elegant cage. The objective now is to ensure this maneuver does not just reorganize your debt, but fundamentally rewires your relationship with money. First, understand the profound cognitive liberation of the single payment. Previously, your financial willpower was dissipated across multiple fronts, a classic case of decision fatigue. Each due date, each minimum amount, each login was a discrete cognitive task, a small drain on your mental reserves. You were managing symptoms, not the disease. The consolidation replaces a chaotic chorus of demands with a single, predictable drumbeat. This is not merely a convenience. It is a cognitive strategy. You have reduced a complex, emotionally charged problem into a simple, mechanical one. Your mental energy, once consumed by juggling, is now freed for focusing. You are no longer fighting in a fog. You see the hill. You have a clear path to its summit. Now, you must climb. This demands a new financial blueprint. We must abandon the language of budgeting, which carries connotations of restriction and scarcity. Instead, we will architect a freedom allocation plan. This is the proactive allocation of your victory. The core economic benefit of consolidation is the monthly cash flow freed from the vampire of high interest. That saved money must not vanish into the ether of daily spending. It must be strategically deployed with militaristic precision. The allocation follows a simple, non-negotiable rule. Every dollar saved from the previous cumulative interest payments is to be split in a predetermined ratio along two parallel tracks. The accelerated repayment fund, the majority, perhaps 70 to 80%, is directed as an overpayment toward the principal of your new consolidation loan. You are not making the minimum payment. You are attacking the principal with the very weapons your debtors used against you: consistency and extra payment. This dramatically shortens the loan's lifespan and reduces the total interest paid over time, turning a good financial decision into a brilliant one. The Victory Fund. The remaining 20 to 30% is allocated to a separate liquid savings account. This is not your full emergency fund. That is a later campaign. This is a psychological construct. This Victory Fund serves a crucial purpose. It provides immediate, tangible reinforcement. It allows you to see and feel the benefit of your discipline within weeks. It can be used for a planned, modest reward, or, more powerfully, left to accumulate as the seed of your future financial resilience. It transforms abstract progress into visible, empowering results. Concurrently, you must engineer systemic fail-safes to prevent regression. This begins with the credit card rule. If you choose to retain any credit card for necessary transactions or credit building, its use must be governed by an iron law. Any charge placed on the card must be offset by a payment in full from your checking account before the statement closing date, resulting in a zero balance reported to the credit bureaus. The card becomes a transactional tool for convenience and security, not a source of liquidity. It is a payment mechanism, not a lending instrument. This behavioral firewall ensures you never again pay a cent of credit card interest. This leads to the essential mindset shift, the final and most important transformation. You are no longer a debtor. Your internal narrative must evolve from "I am getting out of debt" to "I am building financial sovereignty." Debt repayment is merely the first necessary campaign in this larger war for independence. Sovereignty means having agency over your choices. It means your decisions about your career, your home, your education, your time are made from a position of optionality, not desperation. It means your capital works for you, whether through investment, through purchasing power, or through the security that allows for intelligent risk-taking. The anxiety that once clouded your decisions begins to dissipate, replaced by strategic clarity. The money you are no longer sending to credit card companies becomes capital you can deploy. The mental bandwidth once consumed by managing multiple debts is freed for innovation, planning, and living. You are not just cleaning a balance sheet, you are reclaiming your cognitive and creative potential. This journey, if executed with discipline, leaves you with something far more valuable than a clean credit report. It leaves you with a template. A template for analyzing a complex problem, executing a strategic maneuver, and fortifying the resulting gain. It is a repeatable methodology for exercising control over your financial life. This template is the true prize, the intellectual capital you can now apply to build the life that debt was systematically delaying. You have changed the rules of the game. Now you must learn to play by your own. We began with a fundamental misclassification, the perception of debt as a static number, a simple obligation. We have reframed it as a dynamic system, an architecture of anxiety built on the compound interest algorithm and sustained by behavioral fragmentation. The journey we have outlined is not a simple financial hack. It is a strategic recalibration. You have moved from being a passive subject within that system to an active architect of your own financial terrain. The consolidated loan, the freedom allocation plan, the ironclad credit card rule, these are not isolated tactics. They are interconnected components of a single powerful equation. The old equation was simple. Your income, high interest debts plus anxiety equals stagnation. The new equation you are now implementing is transformative. Your income plus strategic structure, controlled low-cost liability equals capital plus optionality. The thousands of dollars you will mathematically save on interest payments are merely the immediate, quantifiable gain. They are the visible tip of the iceberg. The true mass, the profound profit, lies beneath the surface in the form of reclaimed potential. This is the capital that is now liberated and can be redirected. It is the career pivot you can afford to make, the educational investment you can now pursue, the down payment you can begin to accumulate, or the business idea you can responsibly seed. More intangibly, but just as critically, it is the mental space once occupied by calculation and worry that is now free for creativity, for relationships, for strategic thinking about your life as a whole. This is the compounding interest on your existence that finally decisively begins working in your favor. You have not just lowered an interest rate, you have increased your rate of progress. You have converted a draining, passive expense into an active investment in your own future agency. The feeling of moving forward, of visibly conquering a single defined liability, creates a momentum that transcends finance. It proves to yourself that complex, oppressive systems can be analyzed, understood, and restructured. That proof is transformative. This was chapter 1. This was the deep dive into one powerful foundational strategy for reclaiming control. But the story of your financial sovereignty does not end with consolidation. It begins with it. This is merely the first critical move in a much larger narrative of building unshakable credit, intelligent wealth, and lasting independence. What is the next chapter? Perhaps it is mastering the art of the strategic credit profile, learning how to build a flawless credit score from the ground up, not as an obsessive game, but as a deliberate tool to access the world's best financial terms on your own behalf. Maybe it is understanding the legal and strategic frameworks for disputing inaccuracies on your credit report, transforming it from a mysterious decree into a document you command and curate. Or it could be a forensic breakdown of credit card rewards programs, revealing how to genuinely profit from them without ever falling back into the cycle of revolving debt. It might be an exploration of ethical and effective debt negotiation strategies for those situations where consolidation is not yet an option, teaching you how to negotiate with collectors from a position of informed strength, not fear. This is the mission of Credit Stories. We do not traffic in superficial tips or fleeting trends. We dissect systems. We reveal the underlying psychology and mechanics of personal finance. We provide the critical context behind the advice, empowering you to become your own chief financial strategist. Each video is a deep narrative exploration designed to give you not just an answer, but a comprehensive understanding. Therefore, your next strategic maneuver is clear. If you are ready to move from managing crises to designing a resilient financial life, you need to arm yourself with knowledge that is both profound and actionable. Subscribe to Credit Stories on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. By subscribing, you are not just following a channel, you are enrolling in a continuing education for your financial independence. You are ensuring that the next chapter in your story is informed, strategic, and powerful. Our next investigation is already in production. We will be deconstructing one of the most misunderstood aspects of the financial world, the invisible leverage, how to use credit to build actual wealth, not just debt. This is not about getting rich quick. It is about understanding the fundamental principles that separate those who use credit as a tool from those who are used by it. You will not want to miss it. Your financial story is not a predetermined script written by your past decisions or by opaque systems. It is a living document, and you hold the pen. The pen is your informed choice. The ink is your disciplined action. What you write next is entirely up to you. Make it count. I will see you in the next video.